may be seated. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Scott, do you have any other proof?
Defendant rest.
All right. General, closing.
Yes, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be pretty brief. This is obviously the second part of our trial, and the state only has to prove one additional element, the aggravating factor. And in your instructions, you will hear that the factor is if the murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age and the defendant was 18 years of age or older. We submitted a copy of Evelyn's birth certificate, which will show that she was under the age of 12 at the time that this murder was committed. And it also gives Megan Boswell's birth date, which also proves that Megan was over the age of 18 at the time this was committed. You get to consider not just what was in this hearing today, but anything that you heard in the trial itself. You heard from a few witnesses today talk about Megan's childhood. You're going to get jury instructions on mitigating factors that the defense would like for you to consider. Things like how old Megan Boswell was at the time, Megan Boswell's childhood, the things that she witnessed, role models in her life, etc. But I submit to you that there are a lot of people who have hard childhoods. There are a lot of people who have babies when they're young, and those people do not kill their children. Those people do not wrap their children in blankets and foil and put them in a trash can upside down.
Objection clear.
When you look at these mitigating factors, and it looks like they have submitted 11 mitigating factors, I submit to you that lots of people have childhoods like the defendant had, but you heard from her own grandmother that her grandmother and grandfather were stability for her. And I submit to you that just because you have the childhood that you have, and of course we all, you included, have different life experiences, that does not make an excuse for what she did to Evelyn. The defense is telling you that Megan Boswell deserves life with the possibility of parole, which is essentially roughly 51 years in this state, which would mean that Megan Boswell could get out in her late 60s, I believe. I submit to you that Megan Boswell she doesn't deserve that chance. Does Evelyn get the chance when she's 69 years old to start her life again? She doesn't. Neither does Megan. We are going to ask that you continue to hold her accountable. The state has proven the aggravating factor that Evelyn was under the age of 12 years old. and that the defendant was over the age of 18. We have proven that. And that is all the state has to prove. And if you believe that the state has proven that beyond a reasonable doubt, we're going to ask that you return a verdict of life without the possibility of parole.
Thank you, General. Mr. Horn.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know the last few days have been emotional for you. It's been emotional for everyone. That emotion really began 5 years ago. Not just for this case, but for our community. And it has had some dividing and rippling effects. You've been sequestered, you haven't seen those things, but we have. We've seen how divided this community is over this case. Perhaps that could last and go on for a long time. You spoke very loud today when you found Megan Boswell guilty. And I think it's time that we end all of this on the right note. You have a chance to do that. I don't, state doesn't, judge doesn't, you do. You can put the defining moment, the period of what people will remember about this case, and perhaps you as jurors, because you did find her guilty, and now you have a chance to do and show the one thing that's been missing for the last 5 years. That's grace and love. We have all, everybody in this room has failed in some way in their life. It may not have resulted in a criminal charge. It may not have resulted in going to prison, but we've done something. We've wanted compassion. We wanted grace. We wanted love. That's how you can end this. And that's how we can start to move on as a community. And you can show her what love looks like. Because you've heard how fractured and dysfunctional her family is. Mr. Scott told you in the trial, he didn't go through a lot of things in her life. I didn't either. But I knew my mom and dad loved me. They loved me to the end. My family now loves me to the end. I don't think she's seen what that looks like in her life. You're going to get a chance. Go back there and show her. You can tell her